Hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be posting videos like these on a regular basis, so please click the red subscribe button below so that you'll be the first to watch these videos and never miss out.
For the 21 video series, everything you ever wanted to know about Islam and the Muslim culture,
But couldn't be bothered to ask.
just click the link at the top right of this screen.
Also, please help us reach as many people as possible by sharing the link with anybody you think should see these videos.
But for now, let's take a look at today's video.
Enjoy!
Jilko Buvak's taking
5
some
seconds.
time out for personal reasons. That's the latest. I'm Laura Safe.
Assalamu alaikum
Wa rahmatullahi.
wa barakatuh.
Welcome to Heritage Radio. You have Junaid Rahim,
And Mr. Muhammad Yusuf Bashforth.
and we have a guest in the studio. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Anila, and it's my honor that I'm here as a guest today. But very soon, inshallah, you're going to listen to me in morning as in the breakfast show. And basically, tomorrow I'm going to give you a brief discussion and, of course, my introduction. But the only privilege which I'm going to tell you today that I'm sitting here with two very, very nice people, and they're doing very well show. And I'm happy that I have become a part of this show today.
That is incredibly kind. Thank you very much indeed.
Do you know, I'll pay you later for that, so thank you so much. I don't know how much you charge for such a wonderful introduction to
Fantastic. It's better than anything we could have done for ourselves.
No, you're
Absolutely.
doing great.
I tell you what, sister, you're hired. From now. You can introduce us anytime you like.
And we'll
Alhamdulillah.
reciprocate.
Thank you.
We'll come and sit on your show and say how lovely you are as well. That's fantastic.
Inshallah.
So, as I say, we have Junaid Rahim and Muhammad Yusuf Bashborn, otherwise known as,
The two white Muslims.
and there's a reason for that. There's two of us,
We're both white.
and we're also Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
So, not a name that we chose, one that was given to us. As we meander up and down this great British Isle of ours, we visit mosques and we visit different places with a view to either going in and praying or just to meet as many people as we possibly can through our day-to-day activities. We tend to find when we go back, people have said, "Oh, you know, we had Junaid and Yusuf in." You know, Junaid and Yusuf. Junaid and, you know, they're two white Muslims, and then there's a spark of recognition.
The two white Muslims.
A spark of recognition as people just associate exactly who we are. So it kind of stuck. That's where we are. That is how we are now.
Okay, so some of our listeners may have noted that we were on this morning. We were on the breakfast show this morning, alhamdulillah, and we ran from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. and we're going to be on the breakfast show, inshallah, every Monday going forward, and we're also on the drive time show every Monday going forward as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. If
I
Allah does
can-
will this to continue.
Absolutely, we'll be doing this until somebody tells us we can't.
And as we did come out this morning, even if that was the case, you'll hear somebody else presenting and then some tiny taps at the window as we're
Hello,
desperately
hello.
trying to get in. We've enjoyed it
Can we
that
come in,
much.
please?
It's been absolutely fantastic.
But given that we've got the esteemed Waka Abasi in the studio with us right now, and he has a beaming smile on his face, I think that we're safe at least for today. Junaid, what do you think?
Well, either that or we're driving home on flat tyres. I'm not sure which.
We'll see.
Not sure which.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So, Junaid, what do we have? Sorry. One more very, very important announcement here, and that's that my very first day in this studio, where I was taught how to use all of these controls and buttons, was today. That was this morning, and after a half-hour lesson, the instructor left the room and left us to it. Alhamdulillah. They say the best way to learn is to dive in head first and just...
And as you're drowning, somebody's throwing bricks at you. And that was very much our Monday
That's
morning.
exactly what happened this morning, alhamdulillah. But
Incredibly-
we seem to survive.
Incredibly, we got through it, but it was also very enjoyable.
We lived to tell the tale.
The decision was, as we walked through the door, my brother here looked at me and said, "So which seat would you want?" And I said, "Well, the one furthest away from all the buttons and sliders." Which meant I dodged a bullet, and Yusuf found himself. Yusuf, you have the com.
I have the controls. It feels a bit like I'm about to fly a spacecraft in here. Looks like I am. But one very, very important message that goes out to all our wonderful listeners today is that unfortunately at this stage we're not able to take live phone calls. So if you're trying to call, my apologies to you, but the taking of live calls is in fact technically a little bit over my head. So for the next few weeks or so, until I've got used to and mastered this equipment, I do apologise. I'm not able to take your calls live on air. That said, you can contact us via social media. Junaid, if you'd like to remind our listeners what they need to do.
Absolutely. If they would go to Instagram or to Twitter, Facebook, or even Snapchat and just type in @Heritage Radio AM, you will find us eager to get your views and opinions. If you wanted to text in, you could text to 07751 939 396. That's 07751 939 396. As we say, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram @Heritage Radio AM. And we'd be very interested to know what kind of things you would like us to discuss. We're very much a blank canvas. We're eager for your comments, for your feedback and for your direction. We're more than happy to discuss any of the topics that you would like to. If you'd like to get in touch, contact us and let us know what you would like those to be. We'd be more than willing to put our spin, our unusual but hopefully correct spin on anything that you would like us to discuss.
I also feel eager to remind our listeners that I'm not a scholar, I am not a sheikh. I am a Muslim of 27 years, so I have a bit of knowledge behind me. But as far as specialist knowledge is concerned, my apologies if I make any mistakes. Please forgive me. May Allah forgive us all our mistakes. Inshallah, we do things with the best intention. But if we do something wrong, please forgive us, and we'll try to correct ourselves for the next show. Inshallah.
Absolutely. So yes, so we're open to feedback. We're also open to corrections. That alone will keep you very busy. Listen well, listen hard, and get your fingers above those keys at any moment, just to help us with our corrections, because this is how we learn. We've said from day one, the very best way to learn anything is to train it. The very best way to learn anything is to share it. Is to just put that information and knowledge across to other people, and it's something that we've sought to do for some years now. You may well know, if you don't, it's perhaps an opportune time for us to remind you, when Yusuf and I got together many years ago, and began this friendship and this journey together. It was, I would say, we have kind of shared histories, even though we didn't grow up together. It's really wild and unusual. We had very, very similar backgrounds, similar pasts. Our fathers had the same job. Our mothers did very similar things. We had similar siblings. It was really, really wild and extraordinary. But we both came to this wonderful religion of Islam, and we both found ourselves incredibly grateful for that very reason. We just saw a way to give back. We thought, well, what can we do to help kind of spread this message? So one of the things we did was start going around the country and speaking to lots of different people. With a colleague of ours, Kausa Tai, who'd been running an Introduction to Islam training course for, well over a decade, would you say, Yusuf?
Yes, he's spent his days training people, and this is people such as, for example, council workers, social workers, police, fire service,
ambulance,
all sorts of public-facing people who, in their daily work, may well come into contact with Muslims,
yes,
and should really know a thing or two about Islam and Muslims. To help them to engage with them and do their job efficiently and effectively.
So as a result, he launched a one-day training course, wow, like I said, I think it was more than a decade ago, just to help people with their knowledge with regards to Islam, help people have a better understanding of Muslims and also the culture within which we live, so that when they were interacting with Muslims, they just had a better appreciation of the things that may be important to these individuals. And also one thing that we're finding, and we've found through these many years, is people don't want to upset or offend anybody. So they would just come on these training courses to learn as much as they possibly could about Islam, whether they were looking to embrace the religion or not, simply so that they could interact with Muslims and there are no fear of upsetting or offending anybody at the very same time. So we joined Kausa on his mission there and began delivering these training courses, as I say, with a view to giving back and sharing some knowledge, some of this wonderful knowledge with regards to this beautiful religion. And then we thought, well, there must be a way of kind of touching more people. If you run a training course and you have 8 people on it or 10 people on it, well, that's 10 people that you've spoken to in that day. Brilliant. But if you put it online, you can speak to the world. You can catch the hearts and minds of so many more people. Both Yusuf and I in our backgrounds have run training courses, have trained in our different respective roles. I was blessed to to still run a training company, part of which was online, creating videos for training programs. And we thought, so we want to go online, we want to pass information across, and we think we might do that using the medium of video. Maybe we already have some of the skills. So we got together, we created a video program, which we then put on YouTube as the Two White Muslims. So if you did find yourself meandering through to your portable device or your PC or your tablet and typing in Two White Muslims on YouTube, you'll find a picture of Yusuf and I. If you go to that channel, there's lots of different videos, but there's a playlist. It's a 21 video playlist which covers everything you ever wanted to know about Islam and the Muslim culture.
Couldn't be bothered to ask.
And it was actually entitled In Islam. We used to kind of cage this or discuss this in the realms of In Islam, because it's a conversation that we'd had previously when Yusuf's wife and when his daughter were talking about how they wear hijab, and they very much wear a uniform and are ambassadors for this wonderful religion. Yusuf and I, you could give us a second glance and maybe not realising it immediately that we're Muslim. That said, as soon as people find out, it's an incredible avenue for them to start asking questions.
The questions flow freely, don't they?
It's incredible. And it's something that we welcome. It's absolutely fantastic. It's always like, oh, right, well, I can ask you and not offend you. I don't know why that would be the case, but to be fair, maybe just shine through in our face, because you would be hard-pressed to offend either one of us. Many
Not
try.
possible, I'm afraid. Not possible, I'm afraid.
And so we've created this called In Islam, because people would say, so in Islam, and they would ask a whole one of questions, and our response would be, well, in Islam, there'd be a whole load of answers. And so we just put these questions and answers, if you like, into a video program. As I say, we've translated that onto the internet. So we now have an internet channel called the Two White Muslims. If you go there and look at the 21 video playlist, each video is somewhere between 3 and 6 minutes long, and supported with the very latest computer-generated imagery, which I'm told should be shortened to CGI. We do love our TLAs, which I believe is also 3-letter acronyms. And we just find ourselves in a situation where we had to support ourselves with computer-generated imagery, because anybody that has been or does go and have a look says, well, they have to make themselves look interesting somehow. If it were not for that, then it would just be two old men with beards staring into a camera and talk about something of which they're incredibly
We
passionate.
had to do something so that people just didn't have to stare at us.
Absolutely,
Come
yes,
on.
to distract them from us.
I have a face for radio. I belong behind closed doors, I can assure you.
And Yusuf is the better looking of the two. So that's really rather extraordinary. But we put this out, we put this video series out, and we just found the response was extraordinary.
Do you know, I've had a message recently from a gentleman. I won't give any names away, of course, but this gentleman said, I've worked with Muslims for many years, and I've got friends who are Muslim, and I have had for many years. But there are so many questions that I've had about Islam, but I've never been able to find a way to broach these questions or even start up a conversation with either my friends or colleagues. I didn't want to offend them, I didn't want to upset them. But your videos have answered all of my questions. Thank you.
Wow.
And I just think, alhamdulillah.
That's a blessing for
Alhamdulillah,
them. I must say that. But brothers, can I ask a very simple question? Though it's really, I know it's going to be very fruitful for the people who are still keen to know more about Islam. What was the reason of being Muslim or going towards Islam? What was the main instinct or motivation you people had in your mind when you were converting to this beautiful religion?
Do you know,
Fantastic
thank
question.
you so much for that question. That's absolutely brilliant. And what we're going to do, inshallah, is I'm going to ask Brother Junaid to answer that question in the next section, which will be after this short nasheed, inshallah.
Inshallah. Because that takes
Thank
us
you.
nicely. That was absolutely brilliant. That takes us lovely into my next thing here. Look.
No, you should.
It's like you've done this before.
Yeah, you can convince people, and it's not convince, actually by sharing your own personal experiences, people can get more understanding about the religion.
Yes.
Because the more you're going to speak, the more people are going to be aware of this.
Yes.
Of this. Because I know the way you said that so many people wanted to know about Islam,
Yeah.
but they were a bit shy, they know I want to defend. So your personal experiences can make people more aware of
Yeah.
the things which are still unclear.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes, yeah. I'm just going to make sure this is still recording, so I put it on ever so quickly.
I don't know if my voice is coming clear.
I can hear it. That's why I wear these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because sometimes the angle isn't correct, so I'm not even.
If you just get a little closer to the microphone, that's
I find it
Make
really
it
distracting to have
down.
to-
I don't know if I make it get down.
inshallah.
Yeah.
That's fine. That should be fine.
My problem is I'm too small. I should bring it close. Not in size, just in height. You know. That's better.
So, are you ready for your journey to Islam,
Yeah.
including your first visit to the
Oh
mosque?
yeah, if I forget, just keep nudging me. You know the story, don't you? You've heard of it. Have you heard it before?
I'm so glad. Junaid's first visit to a mosque is just a wonderful story.
Oh, I'll leave it. I think I've put it on. It's still on silent. If anything rings it, just
We've had worse.
yeah. That's the end of the video.
13 seconds.
Fantastic. Give me the point and I'll do it. Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to us here at Heritage Radio. You're here with Junaid Rahim,
And Mohammed Yusuf Bashforth,
affectionately known as,
the two white Muslims.
and we're here live from the British Muslim Heritage Centre here in Whalley Range in Manchester. With this,
We can still say sunny Manchester.
We can.
We were saying it all morning, hoping for the best, and look what happened. Alhamdulillah.
we kept looking out of the very thin sliver of window that we have available to us, and it looked beautiful. And then we looked online, and it was 4 degrees. We were like, wait, it looks much sunnier than that. This must be wrong. And then over lunchtime, we nipped out, and yep, it was 4 degrees.
Freezing out there.
Freezing. My goodness. To be fair, it does look beautiful out there. My goodness.
Okay, Junaid, before we took the Nasheed break there, our esteemed guest here, our wonderful sister, asked a question.
Yes.
And the question was about our journey into Islam and what brought us into this beautiful religion. So I think it's safe now to give you approximately 5 minutes.
We'll
I'll just back off and stay quiet if that's possible.
Yusuf looking at me in that, oh, I've heard this so many times kind of way. But thank you very much indeed for the question, because it is one of those things that
You should share with people.
yes,
That's
people
really
do
important.
enjoy hearing. They really do enjoy hearing. And so, if I could share a little bit about my journey, my background. I was born into a Christian household, raised at a Christian Church of England. Specifically, as a child, I went to Sunday school. I was a Crusader, which was a children's group that met several times during the week and then on Sundays. And then, as I got a little bit older, my faith was always there. I had a very, very strong faith. But I maybe drifted just a little bit to the things that would attract teenage boys. I say my faith, my belief in God never varied, never queered, excuse me, in any way, shape or form. I just found myself attracted to other things and doing other things in my life. Grew up, found myself, and I have to say, and this is something that some people look at me and find very, very surprising. I grew up in the 70s and then early 80s and through the 80s into the 90s in an area which was not very heavily populated with Muslims. So not very heavily populated with people of maybe Pakistani heritage or background. So I just found myself very much a white guy in a white world, surrounded by white people, doing the things that white people do. I had a very nice house, had a very nice job. I'd got my degree, I got my master's degree. I was working in a job that I thoroughly enjoyed and you know, gave me all the benefits that I wanted, kind of materially, and also gave me a little bit of a buzz because I ran training courses, which meant I got up in front of people, I met loads of different people, and just a really cool, nice existence, and I didn't question or wasn't looking for anything at all. And it was really quite surreal. One of the courses that we used to run was a 2-week residential business manager course. So it was 2 weeks in a hotel. We let them go home at the weekend, but in effect it was 2 whole weeks in a hotel, pretty much 24 hours a day. You had a few hours to sleep, but the rest of the time it was work. And then because I tended to work in a white male-dominated environment, they would, you know, disappear into the bar, shall we say, in the evening, and there was that kind of white male mentality. And then all of a sudden I found myself on a training course, running a training course, and it was for 2 weeks, and there was a couple of people on the course and they weren't eating or drinking during the day, and I found that really rather extraordinary, and I just wanted to make sure that they were okay and there was nothing wrong, and you know, nobody had upset them or offended them or in any way, shape or form, had done anything to upset or offend them in any way, shape or form. And they said, "Oh no, it's okay, we're fine. We're not eating or drinking because it's Ramadan." And I went, "Oh, Ramadan! Now I've heard of that. What does that mean then?" "Oh well, you know." And they explained what Ramadan was. They explained that they were Muslim, and I just found it fascinating. So I said, "Oh, so this is your religion, is it?" And then they started explaining that, well, actually, no. As a Christian, you're very, very similar. We all come from the same heritage.
Yeah, that's 100% correct.
Incredible.
Because Christianity and Islam is very similar.
Yes.
There isn't much difference indeed.
It follows the same path. So all of a sudden I'm hearing the same names. I'm obviously hearing Jesus Christ, but I'm hearing Noah and Moses and all these different prophets. And to hear the word prophet made so much sense, because as a child growing up, you hear these stories, but they're maybe not explained in any kind of relevance or any kind of order. So you know that there was Noah, you know that there was Moses, you know that there was these incredible people, and then people talk lots and lots and lots about Jesus Christ. You think, okay, so how do these all fit together? And all of a sudden Islam created this timeline where it all fitted absolutely perfectly together. Alhamdulillah, it was incredible. And they were just talking and just sharing the stories. As I think one thing I've experienced in Ramadan since then, we want to talk about religion anyway. In Ramadan, it just goes to a whole new level. So you could just see that they were, you know, eager to talk, and I was eager to ask them questions and listen. So where everybody else would drift off, they'd have something to eat and drift off, I would kind of, you know, pin these two guys into a corner and just ask question, and it was an incredible experience. And then gradually I started thinking, well, actually, and I phrased it that I was receiving answers to questions I hadn't realised I'd had. So I'm getting answers like, oh, so that's who Noah was, so that's who Moses was, so that's how they fit into the timeline. Actually, Jesus Christ was an incredible person, an absolutely amazing human being, but he was a prophet. He wasn't the Son of God, he was a prophet. And it was like, boom, this just made so much sense. And then there were subsequent prophets and messengers, in fact 124,000 of them, all up to the final prophet and messenger, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And all of a sudden, it was just like all these answers came ringing out of nowhere. But that kind of presented me with a little bit of a problem, because as somebody that wasn't looking for this religion and wasn't seeking any answers and wasn't really looking to change my life in any way, shape or form, I suddenly found myself with what was looking like it was going to be quite a scary leap and a massive change of lifestyle, of everything about how I thought and how I'd acted previously. Well, this is how I thought it was going to be, which kind of elicited a little bit of apprehension. So I started looking for the flaw. So I started asking what I thought were really difficult questions to think, well, I'll get in with this one. And I'd ask a question and they'd answer it. And I'd ask another question and they'd answer it. And then the course came to an end and I still had loads of questions. So I'd then be ringing them up, and we'd be talking on the phone. And if they didn't have an answer, they'd say, well, leave that with me. And then they'd come back a day later and they would have an answer and they'd have evidence. And it would be written in this book and it'd be written from this chapter and it'd be taken from here. And it was just incredible and it was intoxicating. And I could feel myself being drawn towards it. And eventually I was asking these questions. And one of the people that I was speaking to said, look, I think it's reached a time where actually you need to go and visit a mosque. I'm more than happy to answer these questions, but I just feel it's time for you to go and visit a mosque. I thought, I can do that. that'll be fine. And they said, it'll be nice, everybody will love you, it's not a problem. But of course, then the apprehension starts kicking in again. Well, I've never been in a mosque. You're, X number of miles away. I'm going to go all by myself into one of these strange places. I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I think it was either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I went in the evening. I was Sheffield born and bred, so I went up to a mosque in Sheffield, which, as it happens, Yusuf and I then visited about 2 or 3 months ago, which was just like going home. It was beautiful. But I found myself driving past the mosque and I could see some people outside who looked very different from me. And I thought, I'll get it on the other one. Oh, look at that. There's no parking spaces. Oh, what can I do? Got down to the bottom of the road, turned round, drove up again. And I just felt all this apprehension welling up inside me again. I thought, actually, I'm off on Friday. I finish early on Friday. I know, I'll come back at Friday lunchtime. It won't be busy then. So, of course, I found myself turning up at Jummah prayer to crowds and crowds and crowds of people thinking, what have I done? Do they know I'm coming? Is it Christmas? What's going on? What on earth is going on here? I thought, well, I'm here now. Grass the nettle.
Junaid.
Yes.
Just how white did you feel?
Oh my goodness. I felt so white. I'm looking at my clothes, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is extra. They're going to think I'm here to check the fire escapes. This is just, they're not going to take me seriously. So I managed to get parked up and I walked in and a chap came across to me and said, can I help you? I said, well, I hope so. I said, I'm fascinated by this wonderful, by this beautiful religion, and I'd just like to ask some questions and hopefully get maybe a few answers and just learn a little bit more about Islam. And it was like, boom, the cake came out, the orange juice, the coffee, the tea, people came back into the mosque, they all sat around, and it was just extraordinary. And the people that I'd met previously, it was like their amazing personalities, these beautiful people, it was like just magnified 100-fold. And I was surrounded by love and affection and brotherhood, sisterhood, just this just intoxicating atmosphere. It was really, really quite surreal and not something I would say I'd maybe experienced before. So as I was asking the questions, I could see the beams on these guys' faces, and it was like, well, I thought I was asking difficult questions. They're just thinking, well, no, this is normal. This is what we do.
This is straightforward.
This is straightforward. This is day to day. And within fairly short order, I found myself embracing the religion, embracing Islam, taking my shahada, and all the fears and apprehensions and worries just dissipated, just disappeared. And all the things that I thought I might miss, you just give them up in a heartbeat. It's like Allah flicks a switch in your heart and they just disappear. It's extraordinary. And yeah, my life.
Junaid, as you said earlier, I actually want to give thanks to the people that brought you into this religion, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be sat here now. Having the time that we're having, which,
we've said this so many times. The people that I think that angels walk in many forms, or Allah sends guidance in many different forms. And alhamdulillah, the people that came to me, in my humble opinion, are angels in human forms. They were beautiful, brilliant people who, just by the way they acted, they personified Islam, and they preached the Quran without even saying a word. And then when they spoke, it was just with such passion and energy and enthusiasm and positivity. One of the things that Yusuf and I talk about a great deal is the way that Islam is portrayed in the media, the way that Islam is portrayed even by some Muslims can be a little bit negative at times, and we sometimes focus
a
on
little bit,
yes. I'll have to a little bit.
Yeah, but I think, Junaid, this is what, brother, that I think that the people like you are the special people. You're the chosen one.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
special.
true.
Yes,
yeah,
special
that's true.
needs.
No, not all the people can be enlightened by this religion, or the things which come from your inner feelings that can be only done by the help of Allah. Allah bring that thing. He brought that thing in your mind, and you went on that straight path where you came to know about Islam and you explored things. So that can't be happen with anyone. It's a very, very rare thing, but you are the special people indeed.
That's incredibly kind of you to say, and bless you. And I do genuinely feel grateful to Allah and to these people that came into my life, because my life has transformed as a result. I'm now wonderfully happily married. My wife is of Pakistani heritage. I have 3 beautiful children, and alhamdulillah, whilst I thought I had a fantastic life before, now it's transformed, and it's absolutely incredible. So as Yusuf says, I'm grateful to the people that brought me to this religion. I'm incredibly grateful to the people that brought Yusuf to this religion, because it's it's brought us together. And were it not for this, I wouldn't have met Yusuf, and I wouldn't be doing this with him now. And that's really rather extraordinary.
All the listeners, I'm sure, are sat there thinking, well, you know, that's not such a bad thing.
Absolutely. Who are these people? Let's find them. Let's hunt them out. Let's hunt them down.
These people are to blame for bringing us the two ways.
Well, these people were just the source. And
is
basically
incredible.
what happened is just happened by the will of Allah.
That's always
yeah.
always the case, and
Yes.
we fully appreciate that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Sister. That people can give us information, and we can choose to take on or
absolutely.
leave. We can
Yeah.
take or leave
Yeah.
that information, but guidance is from Allah alone.
Yeah,
And
that's,
Allah-
nothing can happen.
We
without
feel
it.
so blessed
Yes.
that, you know, and I question every single day. Why was it that Allah chose to guide me? I don't know.
Yeah.
What job do I have to do? Because clearly I have a job to do
Mm-hmm.
out here. Otherwise, Allah wouldn't have chosen me in this way.
Mm.
But you know, I thank Allah every single day for the journey so far.
And for the
And you know,
blessings it's bestowed upon us.
inshallah, it'll continue for many years to come. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Very quickly, just to finish that point, which has now escaped me. My brain was about to say something, and now it's absolutely disappeared. That's
That's a
extraordinary.
sign of age, Sinead.
Oh, I'll tell you what I was going to say.
No, he's really enthusiastic, and I think he has gone back to the same time where he experienced
Well,
all his
and you know, that's exactly
first
what's
things and going to mosque first time.
Yes, yeah.
It must be
Extraordinary.
marvelous when you first
it's
entered
incredible.
there.
And taking Shahada was just absolutely incredible. But the point I was going to make was, and I've only found out subsequent, because we're learning every single day, we learn all the time. And one thing about being new to this religion, and even 15 years, 16 years on, I still consider myself new to this religion, because I'm learning all the time. But 15, 16 years on, I look back and I think, well, alhamdulillah, I've subsequently heard that during Ramadan, people's hearts are opened, and people's ears and eyes are opened. And that was when I kind of had my first contact with what I would consider to be Muslims, in the respect of who would kind of help and guide and give me information. And you know, all these years later, we're approaching Ramadan, and I think, wow, this is alhamdulillah, this is amazing. Who will be touched in this Ramadan? Inshallah, people during this Ramadan, their hearts and eyes and ears will be open to this beautiful religion also. And wow, I feel so blessed for them.
Okay, Sister, great question. Thank you ever so much once again. Junaid, great answer. Thank you ever
it's
so
your
much.
turn. I'm
Thank
waiting.
you very much indeed.
I'm waiting for you to explain your experience about being a Muslim and how is it.
If we have chance this evening, I'll go into my story as well. But for now, I just want to play a short nasheed, inshallah.
Inshallah.
I know so many Muslims who are not true Muslims. I know so many Muslims who are born Muslims and they don't follow the path. And I feel so bad for them. And I've met so many Christians who are not Muslims, but they follow the path of Islam.
Yes, we said the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a negative way, but the number of non-Muslims who without realising it,
Yeah.
are Muslims. The way they talk, the way they act, the things that they say,
And
the
the
things
way
they put across.
they take care of humanity, they
And
take
each
care of
other,
people.
yeah.
I feel so bad about this, that we know everything, we know what is right and wrong,
Yeah.
and we cannot even differentiate what we are doing.
Yes.
It's a good deed or bad.
Extraordinary. Really
That's
is.
true.